go to the left side this time, the white side of the field, and Rebeck is by himself. Back to throw West, throwing long. He's got Mullins there in the middle. It's tipped and caught by Mullins at the 15-yard line. Right through the hands of the defensive back and pulled in by Mullins.
Mullins makes a great catch. That was a great catch. Over the top. He's our over-the-top guy. Runs a post pattern, makes a circus catch, people. And it does a somersault to make it, too.
Welcome, everybody, to Inside the Cardinal Playbook. Look back at football this past weekend and look forward to McKendree coming up. Tim Crone joins us, and Coach, we had a mere 8 hours to discuss this game, and I think we solved some problems in our heads. But I know the coaches, the players have to be disappointed. I was disappointed. You were disappointed in an effort that in a game that we thought we'd be very competitive in and could win.
Well, you know, Rick, I always tell you this, and I believe it. I've lived my life that way. In life, you're going to be the hammer or you're going to be the nail. And I think the kids at William Joel on the football program have to decide which way they're going to be. They're playing good teams. But we can't always go in with the idea that, you know, we're getting better and it's a moral victory. You know, you got to play up to the expectations that you really want to have. And the time is now, you know, and talk about who we play in the future. McHenry, good ball club.
Yes. We'll talk about McKendree here in a little bit, but first, going back to the St. Joseph's game, we took their two-headed running attack, really did a pretty nice job with it. In fact, the defense did a very nice job the entire game, with the exception of maybe one running play. But again, the offense took a long time to get started and then shot itself in the foot once it did get started. We took a very close 13-9 game into the fourth quarter, but couldn't hang in.
Yeah, you know, I think in any football game, just like the Chiefs and the Broncos the other night when I worked the Chiefs game, you know, we turned the ball over. You know, they had the interception. Jill had the interception. Returned it. They returned it to St. Joe for a touchdown. We had 9 penalties for 78 yards or 88 yards,
something like that.
Something like that. And you just can't do that. And you put yourself. You know, you get a first down, you got a hole. Okay, drop pass, wrong read. Actually, I think you'll see today in this interview we'll probably have, and I'm anxious to talk with Coach. I think you're going to see a lot of wrong reads.
Yep.
And you got to know the offense and know what to look for too.
Well, the head coach will be with us in just a moment. He'll be discussing with Tim Crone the outcome of the St. Joseph's game as Shawn Weigel joins us right after this. Members of the Cardinal Sportscasters Club include these merchants.
5 William Jewell College graduates are valued employees of Advanced Logistics and Fulfillment, a local company that assembles point-of-purchase displays. Advanced Logistics and Fulfillment, 8800 East Underground Drive in Kansas City.
This is Sabrina McIntosh of U.S. Health Advisors, where our motto is hope, helping other people every day. We'll provide you with alternatives to your healthcare issues. Get in touch with us today at U.S. Health Advisors. Sabrina.McIntosh at ushadvisors.com.
Welcome, Cardinal fans, to this segment of Inside the Cardinal Playbook, and I'm here with Coach this week, and we're going to talk a little bit about last week's first conference opponent, St. Joe. Defensively, I thought we really did some good things. You want to talk about your defense?
Yeah. Again, if there's a consistent part of our game and our team right now, it's defensively and special teams. Those two have answered the call every week. I know the score sometimes doesn't show that. You look at it's a 34-9 ball game. We threw a pick 6 late in the ball game. So
but let me interrupt you here. It was, you know, I've been telling everybody it was 13-9 in the beginning of the fourth quarter, and we drive the ball up before we fumble on the 48-yard line. Yeah. It's 13-9. We go in and score, and we're up in the fourth quarter. That 34-9, and I'm not defending you, but I am in public. Yeah. That game was much closer than 34-9. Don't you agree?
I absolutely do, and that's the point I was getting to. Is I mean we're right there on a team that and it finishes that way, and we're 17 points better against that team than we were a year ago.
Right.
But that's not good enough.
Right.
That's not good enough. That's not our expectations, and so we've got some challenges that and our players offensively have some choices they're going to need to make this week is how they're going to handle what the expectations are going to be going forward, because we've got to play better. We've got to play better. I have people ask me how my weekend was. I said we ate some good food.
Right.
We had some good food to eat on the road.
It's tough.
It is, and that comes back to me, and it's what you're going to allow. And if you can go to sleep at night and feel good about your preparation, which I had. but then something reared its ugly head on Saturday that we didn't show up on one side of the ball, and that's unacceptable. Because we had prepared, and we felt good about our preparation, and we felt good about how we were physically going into it. And then, we learned something. If there's a positive, we learned something that we got to keep our thumbs on them all week, and they have to know the expectations when we go on the road, and it's that we will play. And if that's one thing we want to be the definition of this team, is that people are going to know that they've stepped on the field for a football game. And, and that's something that, we need to have a bunch of people in getting treatments on Sundays because we know how hard we played.
Well, life's real simple. I told you this before, and I've kind of tried to live my life like this. You're either the hammer or the nail.
That's right.
There's nothing else. I mean, you could go ahead, and if you like being the nail, it's easy to sit there and get pounded on, but when are you going to be the hammer? And I think that's what you're asking your kids right now. Am I right?
Absolutely. We have a choice to make. I had a choice to make. On that bus ride home, I had a choice to make, and I made a choice that they're going to be held to higher expectations, and they better be moving,
right,
and moving with a purpose, and because we need to increase our awareness and just our savvy, and that comes back to me. We can't blame it on the kids. We have talented kids, but we've got to get more out of them.
Yeah. Again, bright spot, I always try to see everything half full. And I've got some areas I really think we could talk about today, too. And I really thought your linebacker play, Messer and Hayes, all those kids all the way across. Yeah. We were kind of trying to bring of course, Messer's a seasoned veteran for you, but you got new guys playing there. But I think overall this year, your linebacker play has been excellent. All 3 ball games, they've done some really nice things.
They have, and they've constantly gotten better as well. And, that's what we want to see is growth throughout the season. And, they've done a nice job. We took a team that relies heavily on the run, and if it hadn't been for one play we let get out.
That hurdle, when he hurdled the safety.
Yeah, we would have kept him under 100 yards rushing for the day.
You bet. And then you look inside, I think Blevins and Heller have done a good job at the nose, and you're rotating 4 or 5 kids. You're playing up front, the way I figure, you're playing about – you count the front 7, you're playing about 12, 13 guys almost like starters.
Yep.
I mean, because they rotate in. So they've been fresher. We haven't been able to do that. And you see a difference. They're doing a better job of stopping the run and doing some of those things. So there's some real positives there on defense. Right. Now, offensively, you said expectations. What do you expect more from your offense? What areas?
We need to compete. I mean, at every position, and that's if the younger guys are listening, the guys that didn't play a lot Saturday are listening, you need to step in and compete because I'm telling you, everything is open, and because that's one thing we're seeing on the defensive line and a line.
Yeah, because you're playing 13 guys at front 7.
Do you want to lose your playing time?
Yeah.
Then don't show up.
Well, it's made you better. Number one, because you're rested.
Yep.
We've never been able to do that with our front 7. We haven't been able to do that. Now we're playing 14 guys in our front 7, and we're pretty effective against some good teams we play. So, it is about competition, but it's also about expectations. And, if you come into anything, you're always going to want to be the nail. You don't want them there. You want the hammers.
Yes.
Across
the board.
Across the board, you got to have it. Now, on your specialty teams, the win, let's talk a little bit about that. No excuses, same for both teams. Win was a big factor in that one.
It was, and that's, we don't want that to be our nemesis.
Sure.
And that's what we talked about with the team on Friday night. We had to do a kind of an adjusted schedule there with the storms that were coming in. So we stayed at the hotel, and they had a little area out back that we could, go through our first 10 offensively. And I don't know if that helped us, but we need to be able to adapt to things like that.
Right.
We didn't get to do our normal routine. Big deal. Okay. We're not going to let that be our nemesis. It's going to storm. Big deal. We're not going to let that be our nemesis.
That's called life.
Yeah. I mean, it happens, doesn't it?
Well, every day of my life, I always go in Plan A, and invariably, I live my whole life in Plan B.
Yeah,
so I know exactly.
Doubt.
Well, Coach, we'll get back. I like your fire. Yeah. If you don't have a fire and you don't feel bad really, we went in, all of us, thinking, we had a real shot, and I know you weren't satisfied with the expectations. So we'll talk some more about that next segment of Inside the Cardinal Playbook. Cardinal fans, welcome to this segment of Inside the Cardinal Playbook. And Coach, that one's over last week, and now we're moving into, we're going to talk a little bit about McHenry. First home conference game. They seem to always, we're right there with them. Last 3 or 4 years, we've really been competitive with them. And, it seems like at the end they get us. You might want to talk about them. They got a good quarterback. Got some big kids up front.
You bet. Just starting with them offensively, they're very, very efficient. They're going to remind us, when you watch them on Saturday, of Colorado Mines. Isaac Fisher, their quarterback, he's extremely efficient. I think he was Conference Player of the Year or the week again this week, and is
good player.
Yeah, and top 5 in the nation. He just does what they ask him to do. He does it well. And he can throw it and throws it effectively, and and then when you stop that, then he'll get you with his feet a little bit too. So definitely need to contain some of the thing he wants to do. Not overly big up front offensively, but they play really hard. And, that's something. There's something to be said about that. So Coach Babcock over there doing a great job with those guys on the offensive side, and they're scoring a lot of points, and they've beaten some good teams. Northwood University out of Gliac was a good football team, and they came back and won that in the fourth quarter, and went to West Virginia and beat West Liberty, another school that is pretty good, and beat them handily 50-28. So they have the ability to score.
I've been noticing in the league too. It's pretty much a spread league like everybody else in Division II and high school, quite frankly, anymore. But everybody's running the inside zone, outside zone. Last week, double tight with double flanker, one back set, so they can run the ball, and that's the modern era of power football. But I noticed that last week, they'd go empty. And that really hurts because that's a whole different look. When you prepare, it's tough now because you have so much multiple looks to go with.
Yeah, that and the speed of the game that they can get the next snap off is you have to have a system that is very easy to interchange between what formations you might.
Yeah, the old days of a lot of substitution during substitute situations, depending on down distance, are about over, aren't they?
Yeah, it doesn't happen a lot. Now they're supposed to allow you to do that, but it's still difficult if
you still
have
can't
personnel
get
that can be in. Well, we look 21 personnel now. Now we're 10, and we didn't change personnel.
Right.
So it's different that way.
But everybody can go from 3x2. And then, we haven't seen very much falling up in the backfield, Usually it's a one-back set out of the pistol or, offset back. And sometimes somebody like you guys have brought 2 back. But, planning defensively, and you're the offensive coordinator, that's what you want. You want to keep them totally off balance, right? That's the whole object of what everybody's doing right now.
You're trying to dictate what they're going to be in.
Right.
Because then you can attack it.
Yeah, exactly. You can make the call from what they're in. And it is, explain to the fans, because I was talking to one of your boosters, a good person, and it is counting how many's in the box just a little bit. We could spend, you could spend an hour and a half giving a clinic on, give about a 2-minute, who's in the box and who isn't.
Yeah,
people don't know. I say, if there's 6 in the box, we should, 5 in the box, we should run the ball. They don't know what I'm talking about.
Right, and that's all we're looking at is basically tackle to tackle box. It's this imaginary box that is out there, and we've even gone with our breakdown is we don't call it. We used to call it a Frisco exchange. Well, it's a 4-3 or a Pro 4-3, or it's a under exchange. Well, now it's 41 in the box, it's 42 in the box,
right.
It's 32 in the box, 33. So we just know that number, and then you can adjust to
Makes it quicker.
Yeah.
Instead of terminology, numbers, because that means 3 down linemen, 3 linebackers, 4 down linemen, 2 linebackers. For those that are listening, because I realize when I say there's 7 in the box, I know what it means. They don't know what it means, and so I think I need to do a better job. And you, as a coach, maybe could explain it better than I could. Yeah. But it is that it's just that simple. It's a numbers game.
It is, and that's if you're a 3x1 set, and if you've got 3 receivers over here and they want to put 4 over 3, okay, well they can't put 2 over your 1 over here, or if they do, then they can't be outnumbered in the box and account for everybody in the box. So that's really what you're looking at.
I always talk about when you count, the quarterback's not accounted for. And that's when you have to get a little bit more out of your quarterback.
Yeah.
Because he's got to realize that this is such a multiple look now, and it is a numbers count. I guess my question is, doesn't he have to recognize immediately who's not accounted for?
Yes. Or do they have someone that if I'm forced to pull this,
Yeah.
Do I have somewhere to go with the ball?
Exactly.
Do I keep it, or
Right.
am I going to be okay out here?
Yeah, because we run the option so much different than you used to. You actually have pass run option where he comes off, rides the guy inside, and then he can throw the ball to the receiver because you're so spread out, or he can run it, and it's still a pass because he's behind the line of scrimmage. He can still throw the ball. You ran at it a few times, and you got to recognize it that quick, and it is recognition.
It is. Yeah.
So right now you're not satisfied with the recognition.
Not satisfied with a lot of things.
Okay.
Across,
Okay.
Yeah. How physical we are, and mentally tough, and just our awareness.
Mm-hmm.
It's all got to be better. And it will be.
It will be.
Yeah.
It will be because the
They're gonna have a
expectations
choice
are
to
there,
make.
right?
Yeah. Well, they're going to have a choice to make.
Well, Coach, good
Either on
luck.
the bus or not on the bus.
Yeah, you either going to be the hammer or you're going to be the nail.
Right.
It's real simple. Now, we play at noon.
Mm-hmm.
It's the first conference game. We'd like to see everybody there. We've been getting good crowds. We had a pretty decent crowd. That's a long haul up to St. Joe.
Mm-hmm.
And we had a pretty decent crowd. And weather, looked like it wasn't going to be. It turned out to be a good day. But that wind off the lake really blows up there. There's no doubt about it. Well, Coach, keep battling. And like I said, try to get that hammer and nail philosophy in their head, will you? And we'll be ready to go. But I'm looking forward to this Saturday against McHenry. 12 o'clock start here at Jewel, and hopefully we'll have a big tailgate. We had a good turnout first ball game. Hopefully see some more. I know your brother will probably make the trip. I'll have to say hi to him. Yeah, we'll see. Well, good luck, Coach, and stay with us. I know it'll be a hard week of work at William Jewell. Okay.
Yes,
That ends this segment of Inside the Cardinal Playbook.
Members of the Cardinal Sportscasters Club include these merchants.
I'm Kurt McCoy with MFS Design Services. Find us online today at www.mfsdesignservices. Let's get started on your project. Our current portfolio includes many local Kansas City businesses.
Stone Canyon Pizza in Parkville and Zona Rosa. They have lunch menus along with weekly specials and gluten-free options at Stone Canyon Pizza, Parkville and Zona Rosa.
Tim, 3 games in 3 states going into this week, a home game against McHenry. Good to be back at home. In fact, we'll have back-to-back games at home.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to playing at home. We had a real good tailgate for the first ball game. We want to get the fans back in the stands, and hopefully they'll support these kids. They work awfully hard, and it's a process, and hopefully everybody will be with us in the process.
Well, as you and Shawn discussed, it's going to be a tough week for the Cardinals. They've got some answers to find as they head into McHenry, and McHenry is very good offensively, as
Great
Shawn
quarterback.
said. Right, and then again, it'll be a noon start as we head out to Green Stadium for that 12 o'clock start on Saturday, the Cardinals against McHenry. And our on-the-air telecast will begin at 11:30 on the William Jewell College Sports Network. Thanks to Shawn Weigel for joining us. For Tim Crone, I'm Rick Cole, and thank you for joining us on Inside the Cardinal Playbook.